License law in real estate. Introduction. Welcome to this comprehensive discussion on license law, RECAD, disciplinary action, and brokerage in the real estate industry. We'll dive deep into these crucial topics to help you better understand your rights, responsibilities, and obligations as a real estate professional. Intro. License law. License law is the cornerstone of the real estate industry, providing a comprehensive framework that regulates the activities of real estate professionals while prioritizing the welfare of consumers. To appreciate the significance of license law, one must explore its key principles, which encompass licensing prerequisites, ethical standards, and the enforcement of disciplinary measures. Licensing requirements serve as the entry point to a career in real estate. These prerequisites can vary between states, but common elements include completing pre-licensing education, passing a state-administered licensing exam, undergoing background checks, and participating in ongoing continuing education. Aspiring real estate agents engage in pre-licensing education to acquire the knowledge and skills necessary for navigating the intricacies of the real estate market. Success in the rigorous licensing exam is imperative for obtaining a real estate license, ensuring that only competent individuals are permitted to operate in the field. Background checks function as a protective mechanism, screening out individuals with dubious backgrounds and thereby ensuring the protection of consumers' interests. Ethical standards are the moral compass that guides real estate professionals throughout their careers. These principles are pivotal for preserving the integrity and credibility of the real estate industry. Agents owe their clients a fiduciary duty, signifying an obligation to act in their clients' best interests at all times. Truthfulness, transparency, and confidentiality form the bedrock of ethical behavior. Agents must consistently provide accurate information, avoid conflicts of interest, and safeguard clients' sensitive data. Upholding these ethical standards is paramount in building trust between agents and their clients, a fundamental element in a profession where substantial financial transactions and personal information are in play. Disciplinary actions represent the mechanism through which accountability is enforced within the real estate industry. Violations of licensing prerequisites or ethical standards can lead to various penalties, which are designed to maintain professionalism and protect consumers. Individuals or industry peers can file complaints against real estate agents, initiating investigations conducted by regulatory bodies, such as state real estate commissions. The penalties for misconduct span from financial fines to the suspension or revocation of licenses, serving as a deterrent to unethical conduct. In certain instances, disputes can be resolved through mediation or arbitration, providing a quicker and less adversarial approach to addressing conflicts. In accordance with data from the National Association of Realtors, NAR, these license law components work in tandem to fortify the real estate industry. Comprehending and adhering to licensing prerequisites, ethical principles, and the consequences of misconduct are not only vital for a flourishing career in real estate but also imperative for safeguarding the interests of consumers during one of the most substantial financial transactions of their lives. License law guarantees that the real estate sector operates with the highest levels of integrity, transparency, and accountability, ultimately benefiting all parties involved. RECAD. Explanation. Real Estate Consumer Agency and Disclosure (RECAD) stands as a crucial framework within the realm of real estate transactions, aiming to guarantee transparency and protect the interests of all parties involved. To truly comprehend the nuances of RECAD, it's essential to explore its intricacies, which encompass agency relationships, disclosure obligations, and the paramount importance of clear communication with clients and customers. In the context of a real estate transaction, understanding agency relationships is pivotal. According to the National Association of Realtors (NAR), an agency relationship emerges when a real estate agent is entrusted to act on behalf of a client, typically a buyer or seller. This relationship carries profound implications for both parties. The agent, as a fiduciary, is obligated to act in their client's best interests, making decisions that align with the client's goals. This entails providing expert advice, negotiating favorable terms, and maintaining strict confidentiality. One crucial facet of RECAD is the disclosure obligations it places upon real estate professionals. As mandated by state laws and regulations, agents must provide clear and comprehensive disclosures to their clients regarding their role in the transaction. It's not merely a procedural formality, it's a fundamental ethical and legal requirement. These disclosures often include agency disclosure forms, which explicitly define the agent's role in any potential conflicts of interest. Furthermore, as RECAD dictates, transparency extends to relationships with customers, those involved in the transaction but not represented by the agent. Agents are obliged to communicate their agency status, ensuring that customers understand the agent's role and responsibilities. In practice, this might involve disclosing that the agent primarily represents the seller, for instance, while still providing courteous and fair treatment to the buyer. RECAD underscores the critical significance of clear and honest communication throughout a real estate transaction. Effective communication helps manage expectations, build trust, and avoid misunderstandings. It includes not only conveying essential information but also actively listening to the needs and concerns of clients and customers. According to a study by the Consumer Federation of America, communication breakdowns are a leading cause of disputes in real estate transactions. Therefore, adhering to RECAD principles of open and transparent communication is not just a matter of ethics, but it also helps prevent conflicts that could hinder the successful completion of the transaction. Another aspect of RECAD relates to dual agency situations. Dual agency arises when an agent represents both the buyer and seller in the same transaction. According to the California Association of Realtors (CAR), agents in dual agency situations must provide clear and written consent from all parties involved. This consent acknowledges the potential for conflicts of interest and ensures that all parties are aware of the agent's role. Furthermore, RECAD emphasizes the importance of timely and accurate disclosure of material facts related to the property. Material facts are details that could significantly impact a buyer's decision, such as known defects or neighborhood issues. Agents are ethically and legally obligated to disclose such information to their clients. Failure to do so not only violates RECAD principles but could also lead to legal repercussions. Real Estate Consumer Agency and Disclosure (RECAD) plays a fundamental role in fostering transparency and ethical conduct within real estate transactions. It mandates clear agency relationships, disclosure obligations, and the imperative of open communication. According to industry experts and legal requirements, these principles are not optional but are central to ensuring that all parties, whether clients or customers, are fully informed and protected during the complex process of buying or selling property. Adherence to RECAD principles is not just a legal requirement but a commitment to ethical conduct that serves the best interests of everyone involved in real estate transactions. RECAD, Obligations Owed Clients and Customers. Under the Real Estate Consumer Agency and Disclosure (RECAD) framework, real estate professionals are bound by a set of specific and fundamental obligations to both their clients and customers. These obligations are not merely regulatory requirements. They form the ethical and legal foundation of real estate transactions, ensuring transparency and fairness. As stated by the National Association of Realtors (NAR), one of the primary obligations real estate agents owe to their clients is the fiduciary duty. This is a paramount responsibility that places the client's interests above all else. Agents must exercise the utmost care, loyalty, and diligence in representing their clients. This means actively seeking the best possible terms and conditions for their clients, whether they are buyers or sellers. The fiduciary duty also includes the obligation to maintain strict confidentiality regarding the client's personal and financial information. Loyalty is another core obligation under RECAD. Agents must act with unwavering loyalty to their clients, ensuring that their interests are never compromised. This duty demands that agents avoid conflicts of interest that could compromise their ability to provide undivided loyalty. For instance, if an agent is representing a seller, they must not engage in any activity that benefits a potential buyer at the expense of their client's interests. Loyalty is the foundation upon which trust is built in the real estate relationship. Transparency and disclosure are crucial obligations under RECAD, as emphasized by the California Association of Realtors (CAR). Agents must provide full and accurate information to their clients. This includes disclosing any known material facts about the property or transaction that could affect the client's decision-making. Material facts might include structural issues, zoning regulations, or neighborhood concerns. By disclosing these facts, agents empower their clients to make informed decisions and avoid potential legal issues down the road. Navigating conflicts of interest is an intricate aspect of the real estate profession, and RECAD provides guidance on how to handle them. As stated by the American Bar Association (ABA), conflicts of interest can arise when an agent is representing both the buyer and the seller in a transaction, known as dual agency. In such cases, agents must obtain written consent from all parties involved, clearly explaining their role and potential conflicts. This ensures that everyone understands the dynamics of the dual agency relationship and consents to it knowingly. Furthermore, agents must never place their own interests or the interests of a third party above those of their clients. This means that even when there's a potential for additional commission or personal gain, agents must always prioritize their clients' best interests. RECAD reinforces the importance of acting ethically and professionally in all situations, safeguarding the trust and integrity of the real estate industry. In conclusion, the obligations owed to clients and customers under RECAD are more than just legal requirements. They are the moral and ethical compass guiding real estate professionals in their practice. As stated by the National Association of Realtors (NAR), these obligations include fiduciary duties, loyalty, disclosure, and conflict management. Adhering to these principles ensures that clients and customers receive fair and transparent representation throughout the real estate transaction process. Moreover, These principles underpin the professionalism and integrity of the real estate industry, ultimately benefiting all parties involved. RECAD, Single Agency versus Dual Agency. 10 minutes. Navigating the intricacies of single agency and dual agency is essential for anyone involved in the real estate market. These two distinct agency relationships have their advantages and disadvantages, and understanding them is critical for making informed decisions in the world of real estate transactions. As stated by the National Association of Realtors (NAR), single agency is a relationship where a real estate agent represents either the buyer or the seller exclusively. In a single agency relationship, the agent owes their fiduciary duties, such as loyalty, confidentiality, and acting in the client's best interest, solely to their client, whether it's the buyer or the seller. This exclusive representation allows for undivided attention and advocacy on behalf of the client's interests. One of the key advantages of single agency is the clarity it brings to the real estate transaction. When an agent exclusively represents either the buyer or the seller, there's a reduced potential for conflicts of interest. This clarity can foster trust between the client and the agent, as the client knows that the agent's loyalty is unwavering. On the flip side, dual agency, as explained by the California Association of Realtors (CAR), occurs when a single agent represents both the buyer and the seller in a real estate transaction. While this arrangement is legally permissible in many places, it does come with unique considerations and potential advantages and disadvantages. One potential advantage of dual agency is that it can streamline the transaction process. With one agent handling both sides, communication can be more efficient, potentially speeding up negotiations and paperwork. Additionally, dual agency might be appealing to clients who feel comfortable with the agent's knowledge and impartiality. However, dual agency also presents several challenges and potential disadvantages. First and foremost, it's crucial to recognize that in dual agency, the agent's fiduciary duties are divided between both parties. As a result, the agent cannot provide the same level of undivided loyalty to both the buyer and the seller as they could in a single agency relationship. This division of loyalty can lead to conflicts of interest and ethical dilemmas. Another potential disadvantage of dual agency is the reduced level of advocacy and negotiation on behalf of the client. In a single agency relationship, the agent is fully committed to representing their client's best interests, whereas in dual agency, there may be a need to strike a balance between the interests of both parties, potentially diluting the level of representation. It's worth noting that some states and jurisdictions have specific laws and regulations governing dual agency, including requirements for informed consent from all parties involved. These rules are designed to protect the interests of both buyers and sellers and ensure transparency in dual agency relationships. Understanding the distinction between single agency and dual agency is pivotal in the realm of real estate. Single agency offers clarity, undivided loyalty, and a clear alignment of interests between the agent and their client. On the other hand, dual agency can expedite transactions but brings complexities related to divided loyalties and potential conflicts of interest. As highlighted by the National Association of Realtors (NAR) and the California Association of Realtors (CAR), making an informed choice between these agency relationships requires a clear understanding of the advantages and disadvantages associated with each, as well as compliance with local regulations governing dual agency to protect the interests of all parties involved in a real estate transaction. RECAD Review. In this review, we've explored the critical aspects of real estate consumer agency and disclosure (RECAD), shedding light on your responsibilities as a real estate professional towards both clients and customers. RECAD, at its core, is designed to ensure transparency and fairness in real estate transactions. It outlines specific obligations that you, as an agent, owe to your clients and customers. One of the fundamental obligations is the fiduciary duty, which means you must act in your client's best interests at all times. This includes providing expert advice, negotiating favorable terms, and safeguarding their confidential information. Loyalty is paramount. You must always prioritize your client's interests above all else. Transparency and disclosure are crucial components of RECAD. You must provide clear and accurate information to your clients, including material facts that could affect their decision-making. This helps your clients make informed choices and avoid legal complications down the road. Moreover, RECAD addresses the complex issue of dual agency, where you represent both the buyer and the seller in a transaction. In such cases, obtaining written consent from all parties involved is essential to ensure everyone understands the dynamics and potential conflicts of interest. Clear and honest communication is a cornerstone of RECAD. Effective communication helps build trust, manage expectations, and prevent misunderstandings. It's vital not only to convey essential information but also to actively listen to your clients and customers, addressing their needs and concerns. In summary, RECAD is not just a set of regulations, it's a framework that guides ethical conduct and professionalism in real estate. By understanding and fulfilling your obligations under RECAD, you can ensure that your clients and customers receive fair and transparent representation, fostering trust and integrity in the real estate industry. Remember, your commitment to these principles not only benefits your clients and customers but also enhances your reputation as a trustworthy and reliable real estate professional. Scenario 1. The dual agency dilemma. Imagine you're a real estate agent representing both the buyer, Sam, and the seller, Jane, in a transaction. Sam, your buyer client, is deeply interested in Jane's property, and you've been guiding him through the process. However, you've recently discovered that Jane is struggling to sell due to personal financial issues, and she's considering lowering the price substantially. What do you do? In this dual agency scenario, it's essential to remember your obligations. You owe a fiduciary duty to both Sam and Jane. While you want to help Sam get the best deal, you must also be fair to Jane. Disclose the situation to both parties transparently, emphasizing your dual agency status. Encourage open communication and consider bringing in a co-agent to represent one of the parties, ensuring everyone's interests are adequately protected. Scenario 2. The undisclosed property issue. You're representing a seller, Mark, who's decided not to disclose a significant issue with the property's foundation, even though you're aware of it. You're concerned about potential legal consequences if this issue is discovered after the sale. What should you do? In this scenario, license law and RECAD demand transparency and disclosure. Your fiduciary duty to Mark does not extend to concealing material facts. Your ethical obligation is to advise Mark about the importance of disclosing the foundation issue. If he chooses not to disclose it, you should strongly consider withdrawing from the transaction to avoid any involvement in potential legal disputes. Scenario 3. The misleading property advertisement. You're working with a seller, Sarah, who wants to exaggerate the property's square footage in the listing description to attract more buyers. Sarah insists that this is a common practice in the industry. How should you handle this situation? In accordance with RECAD and ethical standards, honesty and accurate representation are non-negotiable. Misrepresenting property details, such as square footage, is misleading and unethical. Explain to Sarah that providing accurate information is crucial to maintain trust with potential buyers and avoid future legal issues. Emphasize the importance of transparency and adherence to license law to protect both your interests and your reputation. Scenario 4. The confidentiality conundrum. You're representing a high-profile client, John, who's selling his luxury estate. During a casual conversation with a colleague, you inadvertently mention that John is selling the property, and it's not yet publicly listed. Your colleague expresses interest in representing a buyer. What should you do? Maintaining confidentiality is a paramount obligation under RECAD and license law. You must immediately recognize the breach of confidentiality and take steps to rectify it. Apologize to John for the indiscretion and reassure him of your commitment to protecting his interests. Ensure that any information about John's property is not shared further and take measures to prevent future breaches of client confidentiality. These scenarios illustrate the practical application of license law and RECAD in real estate transactions. Ethical dilemmas can be challenging, but adhering to your fiduciary duties, transparency, and clear communication is the key to navigating these situations while upholding the highest standards of professionalism and integrity in the industry. Disciplinary action. Grounds. Understanding why disciplinary actions can occur in the real estate industry is crucial for keeping the profession reputable and ensuring consumers are protected. These actions can cover a broad spectrum of violations, and they are rooted in license law, ethical principles, and professional standards. Think of license law as the foundational rulebook that everyone in real estate must follow. It's like the playbook in a sports game, and it's there to ensure that only qualified and licensed individuals practice real estate. Violations can include practicing without a valid license, neglecting continuing education requirements, or resorting to tricky advertising tactics. These rules exist primarily to shield consumers from potentially shady or unqualified practitioners. Then there are ethical violations. Real estate professionals, like agents, are bound by a code of ethics similar to a doctor's oath in medicine. This code includes principles like honesty, transparency, and an unwavering commitment to the best interests of clients. Think of it as a moral compass. So, if an agent fails to disclose crucial facts about a property, discriminates against someone, or breaches client confidentiality, they might find themselves facing disciplinary action for not sticking to these ethical guidelines. Professional standards, set by organizations like the National Association of Realtors (NAR), are another yardstick. These standards lay out the expected behavior and practices of real estate professionals, akin to industry best practices. When an agent falls short and behaves unprofessionally during a transaction, say, through aggressive or unethical negotiation tactics, they could land in hot water and face disciplinary action. Consumer complaints are a powerful trigger for disciplinary actions. Anybody involved in a real estate transaction, be it a client or another professional, can file a complaint if they believe someone has violated license law, acted unethically, or breached professional standards. It's like blowing the whistle when you spot foul play in a game. Regulatory bodies, like state real estate commissions, take these complaints seriously and carry out thorough investigations. If they find evidence of misconduct, they can slap fines or even suspend or revoke a real estate license. Lastly, criminal convictions can also get real estate professionals in hot water. If someone is convicted of crimes like fraud or embezzlement, it can cast doubt on their trustworthiness and ability to maintain ethical and legal standards. Regulatory bodies consider these convictions when deciding on disciplinary actions, as they have a direct impact on someone's suitability for the profession. In a nutshell, disciplinary actions in real estate can arise from various grounds, including license law violations, ethical lapses, breaches of professional standards, consumer complaints, and criminal convictions. These actions serve as the checks and balances that help keep the real estate industry honest and consumer-focused. It's a reminder that real estate professionals must consistently uphold the highest standards of ethics and conduct to avoid facing disciplinary measures. Facing disciplinary action in the real estate industry can indeed be a challenging and nerve-wracking experience. It's like a complex legal dance, and understanding the steps is essential. The process, as outlined by state real estate commissions and supported by organizations like the National Association of Realtors (NAR), typically starts with the filing of a complaint. This complaint can come from various sources, including clients, colleagues, or the regulatory body itself. Once a complaint is lodged, it sets in motion an investigation by the State Real Estate Commission or regulatory agency. This phase is all about fact-finding and evidence-gathering to determine whether the allegations have merit. Think of it as detectives trying to piece together a puzzle. Interviews, document reviews, and inquiries into the matter are standard. Now, during this investigation phase, the accused real estate professional gets their chance to tell their side of the story. They can present evidence, documents, or even call in witnesses who might support their case. It's kind of like a courtroom drama but without the drama. What's crucial here is full cooperation and transparency. Failing to do so can raise eyebrows about one's professionalism. Following this investigation, the regulatory body will make a decision regarding the allegations. If they find credible evidence of violations, they may decide to take disciplinary action. The nature and severity of these actions can vary widely, depending on the specific violations and the regulations in place. It's a bit like a sentencing phase in a legal trial, with penalties ranging from fines and reprimands to more serious measures like license suspension or even revocation. But the story doesn't end there. If you find yourself facing disciplinary action, you have the right to a hearing or appeals process, as per the regulations in your state. This phase provides a chance to plead your case, dispute findings, and seek a fair resolution. Legal representation can be a real asset here, ensuring that due process is followed and your rights are protected. Protecting your professional reputation is paramount throughout this process. Remember, disciplinary actions become part of the public record, and this can affect your future career opportunities in real estate. Hence, starting with ethical conduct and adhering to license law and professional standards from the beginning is the best way to avoid disciplinary actions and maintain your good standing. In essence, understanding the disciplinary action process in real estate is akin to navigating a complex legal maze. It begins with a complaint, moves through investigation and determination, possibly involves disciplinary measures, and ultimately offers an appeals process. Staying proactive, cooperative, and transparent while seeking legal counsel when needed is the key to preserving your professional reputation and career prospects. Brokerage. To start, it's essential to understand the roles and responsibilities of brokers and agents. Brokers are real estate professionals who have completed additional education and licensing requirements beyond what agents need. They often oversee real estate firms and may have agents working under their supervision. Agents, on the other hand, work directly with clients, representing buyers or sellers in real estate transactions. They are typically under the guidance of a licensed broker. As stated by the National Association of Realtors (NAR), brokers and agents have distinct roles but share common responsibilities. Both must abide by license law and ethical standards, including transparency, honesty, and confidentiality. They also have a fiduciary duty to their clients, meaning they must act in their clients' best interests at all times. Now, let's explore the various types of brokerage relationships. First, there's the concept of a single agency, where an agent represents either the buyer or the seller exclusively. This means the agent owes undivided loyalty and advocacy to their client. Their goal is to secure the best possible terms and conditions for their client. They cannot provide similar representation to the opposing party in the transaction. On the flip side, transaction brokerage, also known as dual agency in some regions, occurs when an agent represents both the buyer and the seller in a real estate transaction. This relationship entails a different set of responsibilities. Agents in transaction brokerage must be impartial and fair, providing equal assistance to both parties. While they can facilitate the transaction, they cannot offer the same level of undivided loyalty as in a single agency relationship. Moreover, some states allow for designated agency, where different agents within the same brokerage can represent the buyer and the seller independently. This arrangement enables clients to have exclusive representation while still working within the same brokerage firm. Lastly, there's the concept of a customer, which typically applies to individuals involved in a real estate transaction but not represented by an agent. Agents have a duty to treat customers fairly and honestly, but their primary allegiance remains with their client. Understanding these different types of brokerage relationships is critical for clients and customers in real estate transactions. It allows them to make informed decisions about the level of representation they desire and helps agents fulfill their responsibilities effectively. It's important to note that the specifics of brokerage relationships can vary by state, so it's advisable to consult local real estate regulations and work closely with a trusted real estate professional to navigate these nuances effectively. In summary, brokerage is a fundamental concept in real estate, encompassing the roles of brokers and agents and the various types of brokerage relationships. Whether it's single agency, transaction brokerage, or designated agency, the goal is to ensure that clients and customers receive appropriate representation and guidance throughout the complex process of buying or selling real estate. Adherence to license law and ethical standards, as outlined by organizations like NAR, is the bedrock of successful brokerage relationships, fostering trust and transparency in the real estate industry. you for joining us in this in-depth exploration of license law, RECAD, disciplinary action, and brokerage in real estate. These topics are essential for a successful and ethical career in the industry. We encourage you to continue learning and staying up to date with industry regulations and best practices.
Good night.